Today, we're getting back to a project that's been in the making for over 3 years, and one that's going to be faster than anything I've ever built. The scrapyard truck started out with the simple idea of converting the UglyTruck into a 4-wheel drive, but that small idea quickly snowballed out of control. Once I bought the frame and made a few repairs, I built some custom coilover front suspension, installed a stronger rear axle with split monoleaf suspension, and swapped in a custom-built fuel tank. Now I had a complete 4-wheel drive rolling chassis, but that's when it hit me. Why take apart the UglyTruck just to make another version of itself when we could get a few more pieces and make an entirely different truck? So after a few late nights on Marketplace, I found the perfect cab, but it was just an empty shell. So a little while later, I bought another wrecked Silverado that had significant body damage to the cab, but it had everything else that I would need to make one complete truck. So I stripped the blue donor apart to nothing and reassembled the pieces onto the new silver cab with the custom 4-wheel drive rolling chassis. And that rolling shell is what earned the nickname the scrapyard truck. But it still needs tons of work before it's going anywhere. So today we're kicking things off by repairing a little bit of crash damage. Even though this looks like a complete truck, it's like the furthest thing from it. Everything that makes this a functioning, running, driving vehicle is not necessarily missing, but it's disconnected, or in the case of like the wiring, it's in that box. Like the entire chassis and engine bay harness is sitting right there in the front seat. Obviously, the truck's not going to drive very far like that. But before we can start putting it back together, which should go pretty quickly, there's a little bit of damage that we need to repair. Now, because this truck is assembled from like 3 separate trucks, I kind of mixed and matched the best pieces that I could find. And the cab, for example, the cab is in really, really nice shape. And the truck that this used to be on was involved in the collision. It got hit in the front pretty hard, this corner. It bent the frame that this cab used to be on. But the sheet metal here did not survive unscathed. It's really not all that bad. It's a little bit tweaked up and bent up, and we don't like that. So we are going to fix it. Now, luckily, when I parted out the blue truck that had the front sheet metal and some of the, like the dash and the electronics and stuff like that, when I parted out the blue truck, I saved that corner of the firewall. So basically, we're just going to cut off the bent pieces, weld on the good pieces, and call it a day. Basically, we just start cutting, and we don't stop until all the bad parts are gone. Do you want to win this truck? Well, too bad, you can't. This one's mine. But I am giving away this truck, and there's only 1 week left to get entered to win. That's right, the UglyTruck Sweepstakes is rapidly coming to a close, and very shortly, I could be calling you, and you could be taking it home. You also get this fender that has a hole in it, so you can run a dump pipe straight from the turbo. And you get the 15-inch weld drag pack. Now, if you're new to the channel, here's the deal. It's a turbocharged 1,000 horsepower, 8.1 liter big block Chevy. Boom, 85 millimeter turbo, Raylar heads, Raylar intake. It's got a comp cam in there, a whole bunch of goodies. I have built every last piece of this truck over the last 5 years, and now you get to take it home. And because we're in the last week of the sweepstakes, we're going to celebrate by offering a 2x multiplier. That's right, if you missed out, if you haven't entered yet, now is the time to do it. Every $5 that you spend over at TolmanPerformance.com is going to get you 2 entries into the UglyTruck Sweepstakes. And that's all week, the very last week from now until the 21st at midnight. That's when the sweepstakes end. So get your entries, read the official rules for all the details that you need to know. But anything that you purchase over on the website will get you qualified to enter to win.
God, that looks good, man.
You know what occurs to me just now? Probably need to invest in a spot weld cutter because I have a lot of them that we are going to need to cut. I think someone's breaking into the shop at night and sharpening my drill bits incorrectly. Work. We are on a bit of a field trip right now. We're at the local pull and pay. I misplaced and/or inadvertently threw away a couple of HVAC items from the last donor truck that I stripped out. So we are here to find some more. But I love the junkyard. This is fun. So this Escalade right here, or what's left of the Escalade, has one of the pieces that I need. As you can see by that hose that goes up towards the firewall, this is a Hydro Boost truck, and it has non-adjustable brake pedal, or a non-adjustable brake pedal, I should say. I need that because I am putting Hydro Boost on my truck and the pedals are different. So let's extract it. And just a little while later, we have secured the brake pedal that we need. And the big difference is the distance from that pin to that pivot is different. All right, one more thing we had to rescue from the junkyard, the ducting that goes in the HVAC. I threw that away. So now we have some more. New socket, somebody's missing 10. And guys, I literally just stumbled across this tailgate sitting on the ground. It's like in really good shape. I don't think there are any dents in it, and it's perfect. So we're gonna take it because my tailgate is kind of messed up. Lucky day. Now, we're taking a break from the sheet metal real quick. We're going to remove the dash. I need to put the heater box back in, but also this piece of sheet metal right here is the same one on the other side. So once the windshield's removed, we'll have much better access to get the collision damage repaired. What do you got left over there? I'd like to see how they did this on the assembly line. 8 million trucks a day. Cool. Okay, Chris, I'm gonna just pass it across. Let's stand it up and I'll set the airbag on that seat. Then I'll come around and All right, so a lot's happened in the last 24 hours, but we're doing great. So this is most of the haul that we got from the junkyard. We got all the dashboard ducting, that again, I threw away. And a few miscellaneous pieces under the hood. Not sure if I'll need everything or not, but it's inexpensive enough, so you might as well grab it. This is though what I'm most excited about, because I wasn't planning on even getting a tailgate right now. I mean, I've been looking on Marketplace and stuff trying to find one. Around me, like a good tailgate's 250, 350 bucks. But this one, I did discover it's got a couple little dents here, a little one there, but like overall, super straight. The backside's even clean. And the tailgate that I have over here, I actually did, I think, pay 200, 250 bucks. Like, it's got a big gouge in it there. It's dented up here. The backside is painted like kind of Nardo gray, but not very straight. So anyway, I'm extremely happy that I stumbled onto that tailgate. I think the total cost was like $80 for just the tailgate. So that's awesome. Also, a spot welder arrived, or not spot welder, spot weld cutter arrived. Has these little guys here. And last night, removing this piece here, I struggled with it. It took probably an hour. These spot welds along here, I just did a quick test pass that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It took me like 7 minutes. So definitely a worthwhile investment. I'll put the link down below. It's just an Amazon one. All it is that little guy there, which probably won't focus. That little guy there, but works awesome. So let's, oh, and the Supreme Auto Glass in Colorado Springs, check them out. They're awesome. They came by and they cut the windshield out. So now we can continue on our patch job on that corner. Yeah, we do have a lot more material here than we're actually going to use, but now that we have the good spot weld cutter, I'm just going to surgically harvest the part that we are going to use, and then we'll trim the rest of the truck to fit. I think this is more of a time-lapse operation. All right, there's our patch panel. One short time lapse later, we have all the parts extracted that we're going to be reusing. And basically we have 3 separate pieces. One, the little bracket that spot welds onto the firewall that'll hold like the battery tray for the like diesel trucks, the fender brace, stuff like that. This guy here, which just goes on the side. That one was pretty crunched up. I tried to straighten the original one over there, but so we have replacement. And then this piece here. I may cut this apart here or like separate the top just to make it a little bit easier to say put some seam sealer down in here, but we'll cross that bridge in a moment. But yeah, there we go. That's the donor parts that we need. Now we just need to continue the surgery on the cab so we can fit the new parts in place.
Pro tip, make sure you cover the glass. Otherwise, you'll be putting in new glass.
So that's the majority of the sheet metal cut away. Obviously, I still need to do like the final trimming to size, but more or less, this is what we're going for. Got to trim that off too. I think part of the reason why I hate sheet metal work so much is that funny taste you get in your mouth when you're like grinding and it's the sparks and the dust and it gets in your lungs and you blow your nose later at night and it's like black. Probably should wear a respirator. That's the lesson I should take away from that. Tomorrow's a new day. Gotta say, I'm impressed with these Amazon spot weld cutters. Like, if you don't get it perfectly straight, it walks around a little bit, but for the price, I can't complain. And I haven't even changed out the bit. They give you like 10 extra bits. It's working. So hats off to you guys if you're doing body work and sheet metal work like this on a daily basis, because there's an art to it. There's a skill to it, and it probably took me a little bit longer than I care to admit, but I got this thing dialed in. We are pretty much ready to start doing the final stripping of the paint and kind of get this thing welded in. So it's going to be pretty much like factory. I wish I could have done this 100% like factory, but this panel here actually goes underneath this one and it kind of goes way up in. So I couldn't completely tear the whole cab apart to do that. But I've minimized how much stitch welding I'll need to do by, intersecting this open vent rather than say going here straight across it. And the reason why I went up this way is just so I didn't have to weld too close to this piece that's glued in. I like that. But yeah, for the most part, looks factory, digging the blue. We're probably just gonna prime the seams and leave the blue paint because Arrival Blue is my absolute favorite color. And I don't really care if it mismatches. I mean, look at the rest of the truck. So let's clean some paint, let's get to welding. All right, first things first, we're gonna get the firewall fender brace thingy installed. I just got a nut and bolt with some really big washers. Just kind of hold it in place. The factory also did apply seam sealer along this, but luckily, once the hatch is in place or the truck is put together, nice, like so, I can still reach my hand in here and apply the seam sealer so we don't have to worry about water getting anywhere it shouldn't. So I think what we'll do here is get like a couple of tack welds on this side to hold the back in place because I got that lined up perfectly now. I will just lift this a little bit, tack weld that together, tack weld here, here, and then finally this bottom pinch weld, I'll just have to push up a little bit and then we can get that one welded in also. But it's looking good. It took way too long to get this fit up, but well worth the effort. It looks awesome. So we skipped ahead in time quite a bit. We now have the panel fully welded in. Most of the welds are kind of ground down. I got a little bit of etch primer on it. Now I have to somehow reach in here and get as much seam sealer on this lower joint as I can. I'm going to try to get some along this upper seam just to kind of keep water out. The way that everything is molded, it's kind of like shingles on a roof where even if it did fill the water, it should mostly drain out, but still want to do it as right as possible. Oh, this is gonna get messy. As usual, this portion of the repair took a little bit longer than I initially anticipated, but we did it right, and I am very, very happy with the results because now, nice and straight, no more crunchy sheet metal. I was extremely happy with how everything lined up. We're just gonna wait for the primer and the seam sealer to fully cure. Then we'll try to blast a little bit of paint down in there. And I did grab some, I just went to AutoZone and grabbed one of those, you know, El Cheapo factory match paint cans. And it's not the right code, but it's sort of kind of close for the blue there. And at least it'll be all one color, sort of. I mean, I'm not gonna paint the firewall. I'm just gonna paint things that were blue, and then, you know, come out to here. Later on down the road, maybe we'll paint the truck. Maybe not, I don't know. I don't really care about painting things. I kind of like the multicolor look, even though my wife hates it. I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, while we wait for that to dry before we paint it, we'll put a few of our goodies on. I think I mentioned that. Cool transmission. We have an engine coming. We'll talk about that later. So I'll just throw on a few things that we have here. One more thing I figured I'd worth mentioning. Can't talk today. We're going to try to do premium factory sound on this because I don't know why. It's probably a waste of time. But with the cab, I also got a Bose harness, and it was all intact and labeled, so I figured, what the heck? I bet we could get it into that dash harness and make it function. Cool. Anyway, brake pedal. Oh, that's tight. I've shown you this before, but that's the difference in the two pedals. Perfect. Now for the build process of this truck, there's going to be a ton of like putting things together and taking them back apart. This is probably an example. Eventually I'm going to redo the transmission cooler, but for now I just want to get the condenser in so it's where it belongs. It says perfect match on the can, so we're expecting big things. As it drips out. I mean, not perfect, but better than nothing. This will all be covered up anyway. Got a little bit of paint splashed on the firewall, and that's pretty much wrapping up that part of the repair. In between coats of spray paint, I messed around a little bit with the dash harness for the Bose radio, and I kind of figured out approximately where it's going to go. It basically follows the OE harness, and there's a few spots, like I think, where was it? Oh, like there's a clip and there's a hole, and it's just kind of cool to see, you know, that they intended, or they allowed rather, for something like this to basically just fall into place. Like this guy here comes down and plugs into the fuse or the power distribution block. So anyway, yeah, I think we will be installing the premium audio in this truck with a console and the subwoofer. And if you're actually into car audio, you'll probably tell me it's a waste of time. And I probably agree with you, but I don't know anything about actual car audio, and Bose is cool, or at least that's what I read in Popular Mechanics when I was a kid. So anyway, the question did cross my mind, why not paint this silver, like the, I believe, silver birch metallic? Why not paint the patch silver to match the rest of the cab? That probably would make a lot more sense. And to answer that question, I gotta say, I don't know. I just thought of that a minute ago after I had finished the last coat of paint, and I was like, yeah, maybe that would have been smarter. But I don't know, guys. I'm a little messed up in the head because I spent a bunch of time carefully masking out the blue parts. Silver would have made more sense, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's all right. Eventually we'll paint the truck, possibly. I do want to say thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to get entered in to win the UglyTruck, the Turbo 8.1 Sleeper Silverado, 1,000 horsepower, can be yours. Only 1 week left in the sweepstakes. And this whole last week, we are offering 2 times entry. So if you have waited to enter, now is the time to do so. Your odds have never been better. Still not that many people have entered. So someone is going to be taking the UglyTruck home. Could be you. Thank you guys for watching. Come back soon. We'll be working on our 4x4 drag truck, also known as name pending scrapyard drag truck.